We've been doing this podcast now for 33 episodes, and that song still makes me smile every single time I hear it. Welcome, everybody, to the Renatus J.A.M. My name is Jay Stark, and unlike our normal setup when it's me and Matt going back and forth, Mr. Snyder is not in studio with me, unfortunately, today. He's taking a day. He's going to be with his family in preparation for the holiday and everything else. I know he's a little bit under the weather as well, so we want to wish him the very best where he is. And let me just take 1 second. And because he's not here, I can totally brag on him just a little bit for all of our viewers across the nation who just love and adore Mr. Matt Snyder. Matt is one of a kind. You know, he has not only proven to be phenomenal when it comes to discussing difficult situations with people and being able to encourage them, to empower them, and help them to see light at the end of the tunnel. He is phenomenal at being able to take people that are in a really bad way and then giving them an opportunity to shift their attitude and to make progress from where they're at. But he is a tenacious researcher. That guy latches on to an idea and he can research it to the nth degree, and he'll take different sources from all over the place and combine them all together before he reaches any kind of a conclusion. So if you ever hit a topic that he's researched, you will quickly see that he is an incredible resource. He's just phenomenal when it comes to researching. He's so good at talking with people, especially for those people that are going through any kind of a difficult circumstance. And I am truly honored to be on the Renatus J.A.M. with him every single Tuesday coming to you guys live. So it's really a loss that we don't have him today, but we want to wish him the best where he is. And we'll pick up and go on from where we are. Now, I want to ask you guys a question for everybody at home, everybody that's watching this. What has 2020 brought you? I've seen a couple of things come along that have been kind of funny. You know, a lot of memes with Baby Yoda or Gorgon. No, what's his name? What's his name, Aaron? Save me.
Grogu?
Grogu?
Gorgon, Grogu.
Whatever.
Baby
Starts
Yoda.
with a G. Baby Yoda. He's cute as heck. Anyway, so I've seen a lot of memes about that, but I've also seen this new trend for sourdough bread. I am not sure why sourdough bread has started to trend. Sorry. I shouldn't think this is as funny as it is, man. Anyway, but sourdough bread, for whatever reason, is making this resurgence, and apparently there's this heated debate about whether or not sourdough bread is good. And before we got started, Aaron and I were talking about how, you know, sourdough bread is made from a start, and a start you can continue to nurture over time. So like Disneyland, for example, has been using the same start of sourdough bread that they started with way back in the day. Like they're still using the same batch. And anyway, so I mean, this sourdough bread's been around for so long, literally hundreds of years. Some of these starts are that old, and people are arguing about whether or not it's good. It's been around for a couple hundred years.
There's no debate.
I think it's good.
Sourdough's delicious, man.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why is there even a debate?
I don't know.
It's probably, you know, I'll bet all the resurgence, or I guess resurgence was there ever. Anyway,
Right.
I think it's because everyone's in their house and they're trying to find things to do, and so everyone's trying to learn new skills.
Maybe
and part
that's
of that
what it is.
Everyone's getting
all Martha Stewart with the sourdough bread.
Yeah, getting all Martha Stewart with the sourdough bread. Dude, that's the first line of your rap album right there.
Oh man, you know what? My rapper name will be like Uncle Jay. You know, I'll be Uncle Jay.
Getting all Martha with the sourdough bread.
That's right. Oh man, the quality of this podcast has really gone down without Matt here to keep us in line. Anyway, it was just funny seeing that sourdough bread was making such a popular comeback. So anyway, in preparation for the holiday season, though. It's given me an opportunity to really reflect on what 2020 was and what 2020 wasn't. Now, I don't know about you guys, but anytime I'm facing a difficult situation, whether it's a hard day of work, a difficult task, or something that may include pain or whatever, I always like to picture myself on the other side of it, what it will be like, right? What it's going to be like at the end of the day or whatever. And so as we were going through some of these events with 2020, I pictured myself, what's it going to be like when we get to 2021? And you know, the picture that I drew for myself was accurate and inaccurate at the same time. It was accurate in that I have found a greater sense of peace, a greater sense of accomplishment, and made progress in my life. That was accurate. It was inaccurate in that how that peace would come, how that progress was developed, or how I would really feel about things. But it's so cool that we have an opportunity where we can look back now on 2020. Hindsight was 2020, right? And look at what we've learned and how we've grown as individuals, how we've grown as a company, and how things are progressing in our opportunity. So I would challenge everybody who's listening to me, take a few minutes between now and the end of the year, so that today's like the 22nd, we got like 9 days left of the year. In the next 9 days, take a few minutes to sit down and really reflect on what you've learned in 2020, because I have found that it is through the difficult times that I tend to learn the most. And I truly believe that experience doesn't define us, but it does reveal us. It gives us an opportunity to reveal who we truly are. So take time in the next 9 days to really think about who you are, about what you've learned, how far you've come, and where you're headed. And a perfect example of somebody who can easily demonstrate these shifts that they've made in their lives is somebody who's done it very quickly is our guest today on the Renatus J.A.M. That is none other than a very honored PAC member, Mr. Ryan Black. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today. This is going to be a great call because of you, my friend.
Hey, well, thank you, guys. It's my pleasure being here with you, Jay and Aaron. It's going to be fun.
Nice. So let me ask you a question. For all those people on the line that maybe have never heard your story before, give us a short synopsis. How did you get involved with Renatus?
Yeah. Now, what is Renatus again? I'm confused.
If you don't know the answer to that question, we've got a whole other slug of questions to go over.
No, yeah, my initially, everyone gets to know Renatus in a little different way, and my story is quite unique because I actually met the CEO first before learning about the company. I was a filmmaker for over a decade and was at a filmmaking workshop, kind of a continuing education type of a thing, and networked and met Bob Snyder. And he said that he was there to try to find somebody to hire to help out with some projects that his company was doing. So we started a conversation and then eventually started working together. I have to say, when I first met him, he told me, he said, I said, well, what kind of company are you? What do you do? And he said, well, we do real estate education. And I said, oh, that's wonderful. I have actually worked already with a lot of your competitors. And I started naming off a bunch of companies. And I said, yeah, we've been working with them for years. I said, so we totally understand your space. We already have experience, so I'd love to work with you because we understand, your business model. And Bob's response was he started laughing. And he said, well, I think that's wonderful that you have experience, but we do things a little bit different in Renatus. And at first, I didn't believe him. I thought, oh, yeah, right. Okay. But as we got to work with him and work together over the years on projects, it was very clear. It became very clear the differentiating factors of how different Renatus truly is, not only with their approach to educating their students, what people actually end up doing with it, the support, and just their whole philosophy of how the company is run is absolutely night and day different. And so that led my wife and I to say, you know what? Maybe instead of being, just recording and filming things for these guys, maybe we should get involved. And actually started working at the corporate office, and was able to work there for a little over a year as an in-house producer, producing content for the company. At which point, during that time, we started investing, and started doing some transactions and deals, and then realized, well, this program that Bob has created works really well. I think we want to do more of it. And so we parted as friends and said goodbye, and dedicated ourselves full time to investing, as well as working as ICMs, independent contracted marketers, out in the field, sharing what we were doing and sharing the good word of Renatus. And as they say, the rest is history. It's been nearly 5 years now. Next month it'll be 5 years since we started that journey, and it's been a lot of fun. There's been incredible blessings.
So you've gone, excuse me, you've gone from independent contracted marketer to PAC member in a pretty short amount of time. I mean, it did not take you long. You were how long did that take you from the time that you became full-time ICM until you were a PAC? How long was that transition?
It was 2 years, I believe. Yeah, because we 2016, 2017. Yeah, it was 2 years.
Nice. So what happened in that 2 years that led to that transformation for you?
Well, first thing was work. Nothing comes free in life, right? But for us, we've always been really focused and dedicated on whatever the task was at hand, right? If it was being a filmmaker or, doing other things. And so when we decided to take the leap and said, you know what, we are going to full-time focus on applying the Renatus education, as well as spreading the good word of the Renatus education to other people so that they can also benefit. It was, in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I have no plan B, right? He talks about that. The reason that he was so successful in life is he had no plan B. He simply said, this is what I'm going to do. There are no alternatives. And so we didn't have a plan B. We said, well, this is going to work, and we are going to continue to hustle and push and be focused until we drive the success that we've been looking for. So we just didn't give up. Most people give up, right? The going gets tough, or maybe you lose a deal, or you think you're going to close a sale and then it kind of comes out from under you. Those are learning opportunities. You move forward and you continue onward and upward. And so that's simply what we did. We just had commitment, an unwavering commitment of saying, this is what we're going to do, and absolutely nothing is going to stop us. And that's the mantra we've had ever since the beginning.
Nice. Who was it that said, don't bother with plan B, it only distracts from plan A?
I'm not sure.
If I remember right, I think that was Mr. T who said that. I love that quote, and I could see Mr. T saying that, pity the fool. Don't bother with plan B, it only distracts from plan A. But that kind of goes along with so much that we've heard on the Renatus Jam about people who create a plan and then do not leave themselves an out. Instead, they forward is the only direction to go. It's like those slot canyons that get really, really narrow. You can't go back. You just got to keep going forward to get to the other side. That tends to produce the greatest results. It gets uncomfortable at times, and that still creates. Oh, it was Will Smith. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A. That was Will Smith. He's not. Nice. I pity the fool, but I like Will Smith too. So, but yeah, it seems like when you're that committed, that's when you're ready to create the greatest results. So
it is. It really is. One thing though that's important, Jay, to remember is you don't want to just willy-nilly, I've been skydiving. You don't just say, I'm just going to go skydiving. Do you need a parachute? Who cares? I'm just going to do it, right? You've got to be strategic about it. When we made that transition and we said, we are all in, it's go big or go home. We are Renatus 100%.
Right.
At that point in time, we had done investments. So we had some cash reserves. We had some rentals. So we had some passive income, and we had looked at things and realized we didn't need to count on that next deal or on that next sale to put food on the table the next month. And that's one thing that I've seen that some people have done is they get so enthused and they get so excited that they just drop everything and they want to get in, but they do it a little bit too soon. So my advice for you, for you listeners is hey, if that's your goal, you want to go towards that, go for it. But please make sure that you do it calculated. Consult your spouse, or if you have one, and make sure that what you're doing is, you got to take some risk, right? But make sure you're doing it correctly. Don't dive out of an airplane.
Don't dive out of the airplane and then think, oh yeah, I should have packed a parachute. You need to make sure you are definitely prepared for sure. And then once you've made that decision, once you commit, go full tilt. Don't go halfway. I have found that going halfway in just about anything in this life only provides for additional challenges down the road. It doesn't really get you much further or much closer to your goal than not doing it all. So if you're going to do it, like it was my brother who used to tell me this all the time when I was a kid. He said, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing right. So if you're going to make that leap, make sure that you do it right and then go for it.
Yep.
So tell me about what you've learned being a PAC member since you've been on the PAC, and then kind of what has come to you through 2020.
Okay. So since we've been on the PAC, it's definitely opened our eyes a little bit more to the similarity and yet the differences of Renatus members from around the country. There's certain things that are just kind of common themes that everybody, challenges or frustrations or successes, right? That people throughout the country face. Yet at the same time, in meeting different people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, it's been really cool to see how, from just other people who've had such unique experiences in life compared to mine, and seeing how the unifying power of Renatus has kind of all brought us together and has been the solution for a myriad of different problems, right? We had specific needs when we were getting started in Renatus that were met by becoming a part of the organization.
Right.
But everyone is so different. And it's just really cool to see how universal it is. And I think that that's been even more of a motivating factor when we're looking at, as ICMs, spreading the word of Renatus, because it's like, hey, I don't know your backstory. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what challenges you're facing right now in life, but I do know that I've got a tool and some resources and a support network and all these great things that can be of great benefit to you, because I've seen so many other examples of other people who have been blessed by it. And I'm sure your situation aligns with one of those thousands of people in some way. So that's been one thing. It's been also very eye-opening to be able to, be able to collaborate with you, with you, Jay, as well as with Bob on a weekly basis, and kind of, brainstorm and talk about what's going well, talk about opportunities for improvement and growth moving forward, and as different internal or external challenges pop up, as they always do, saying, okay, cool, let's figure out how to make this bigger and better, instead of rolling over and crying. That's never been the response. It's always been, hey, here's an opportunity. How can we make this even cooler, to where afterwards we say, that was an awesome learning experience. Now we're even in a better position. So that's been really, it's been inspirational, as well as just empowering and fun to be able to be a part of those discussions. Right. Hopefully contribute from time to time some value to those discussions, but being able to be there and and just assist in being part of the solution, instead of, sometimes people tend to just complain about the problem. Let's focus on figuring out how to make it work better. So I enjoy that.
Nice.
And you had another question, and I don't remember what that was. The second part of your question.
2020.
Oh, 2020.
What has 2020 brought to you?
2020 has definitely brought some humility. It has brought some just gratitude, some reassessing where we're at with everything. Sometimes, obviously, we started the year with some very lofty goals. We've had to modify those goals throughout the year due to external forces. But the thing is going back to what I mentioned earlier, it doesn't really matter, because we have the same level of commitment. And when you have that level of commitment, whatever happens. It's like, okay, cool. So we simply keep moving forward as, what was it? Meet the Robinsons, that Disney movie. Keep moving forward is the theme of that film. And so we've had to adapt and adjust, and we've tried a lot of things this year that didn't work very well. But we've also tried some other things that have worked out great. And so we've gone back to basics. It's really been a growth and a learning year. And, like you mentioned, those moments in life where we have the challenges, where we have the trials, are the moments where we have the most growth. And so, it's, if I could have pushed a button and made 2020 been a quote unquote normal year, would I do that? I don't know. I mean, we've expanded our capabilities and our technology and what we can do and our reach nationwide. So even though it has been interesting and a learning experience, I am absolutely grateful. Our life experience is only lived once, and it is unique to each of us. So I'm grateful for the experiences we have had this year, and look forward to taking what we have learned and the mistakes that we've made, the failing forward, as well as the great successes, and just creating momentum moving forward in 2021. That's the only way, and I learned that from Bob. That's the only way you can do it. You just gotta pick yourself up and keep moving forward, and with the right attitude and the right mindset, it really doesn't matter what happens because you know the direction you're headed.
Right. Oh, I love that. Successful people aren't defined by their circumstances. They're defined by how they employ their talents, skills, and how they're able to inspire other people. I'm reading a book right now, what's it called? Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. And it's phenomenal hearing about kind of his life and what different trials he went through that helped him become the leader, the man, the inspiration that he became. So that's Oh, I love that. So let me ask you then, what are you looking forward to creating in 2021? Now that you've been through 2020, you've got everything that you've learned in 2020, and like you said, you've had some hits, you've had some misses. What are you looking forward to now moving forward?
Well, there's definitely some behind the scenes things that you guys at the corporate office have in development that I'm really looking forward to. You're not
supposed to tell anybody about that.
I'm being vague, but some really cool things that I know that you guys are working on that I'm very excited for those when that, when the time comes for that. But more than anything, just, anytime you have a really big storm, right? You have a big storm, you kind of like today, it's actually snowing here. You have the calm after the storm when everything gets quiet and the birds come out, the sun comes out, right? And it's so refreshing. I think we've all felt that, right? That kind of feeling of, it's peaceful. There's, it's a renewal. And it seems like after that storm, a lot of times you feel even more empowered, more just so much more grateful for the sun because maybe it's been a few days with, thunder and lightning or whatever. And so I'm looking forward to that. I think as we move forward in 2021, everyone, their attitude is theirs and it's their choice. But I think as a whole, in general, we're going to see a lot more people who are more optimistic. I think we've been fairly optimistic this whole year, and in general we have. Some people have been very negative, but I think that it's going to open a lot of opportunities as we're working with people, and as we're working to support them and guide them and help them on their own personal journey. I think that as that sun comes out, that figurative sun comes out, more and more people are going to say, okay, Renatus is what I need and what I need right now in my life. And I see a massive wave of folks who are open to making that change in their life that they maybe wish they could have done this year, but didn't because of fear or because of other circumstances. So I see massive opportunity.
So did I hear you say that one of the things that you have found to be the most helpful in 2021 and looking forward is optimism and hope?
Absolutely.
Nice. Oh, man, I tell you what, it is so critical. I was trying to explain to my kids the other day what a placebo is and how that works.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure that everybody on the line already knows this, but a placebo is when you take an innocuous substance like a sugar pill or something, but you are told that it has some phenomenal side effect result or something else, and you take it and you start to experience those results. Well, that's all mindset, Took my son to the dentist this morning, and bless his heart, he has this physiological reaction when he gets into the dentist chair. He gets a shot of adrenaline in his body, so he'll start to like twitch a little bit because he just gets so worked up about having people messing around in his mouth and not having any control. And I kept trying to tell him, I'm like, hey, it's all in your mind. If you can get your mind to calm down, you'll actually have a lot better experience than what you're currently enjoying. Which he wasn't enjoying. We have a fantastic dentist, but he didn't enjoy it. So let me ask you this question though.
Yeah.
From your time as an employee to becoming an ICM and now a PAC member, you've had a very close relationship with Bob Snyder. Obviously, as an employee, you had a high level of access, and now as a PAC member, you have a different high level of access to Bob. Tell us what your perspective on Bob is.
Yeah, that's a great question. But you know what, Jay, I want to rewind a little bit farther back, because the relationship started. He was my client, right? And I mentioned I had worked with a lot of the other guys, the other companies. We would refer to them as the real estate gurus, right? The kind of the traveling road shows that go around and do their presentations and then sell their product. One thing that really stuck out with me when I first started working with him was as soon as we said cut and the camera stopped, he didn't change. I can't say that for the other folks, right? He was the exact same person on camera as he was off camera. And it's like, oh, he's not putting on a show. This is actually just who he is. It's just this nice, friendly, humble, service-oriented person. And so that really stuck out to me at first in working with him. And then, I worked, as I mentioned, over a decade in filmmaking as a commercial filmmaker. And so, one of the things is we would work with companies, and it was our job as a production company to basically figure out what the dirty laundry was that the company had and sweep it under the rug and really make them shine. I mean, that's what you do if you're a consultant market for a company. And so as we got to work with him and it's like, okay, well, we need to know the bad stuff so we can figure out how to not let that come out in the content we're producing. There was no bad stuff. There was nothing to hide. And as we continued to work more and more and more, we saw the values that Bob espouses and that his company espouses are perfectly in line with what they're actually doing. They practice what they preach. And so that, I think more than anything, was what really impressed us as we were working. We're like, this client is different than our other clients. And I'm not going to say anything bad about those other companies, but there was definitely a stark difference in the integrity, the values, the core culture that the company had, and that started with Bob Snyder. And so when Bob extended the invitation to say, hey, I love what we've been doing together, but I'd really appreciate it if you could come in-house to kind of accelerate some of the things that we're doing and help us out for a while. While I wasn't initially thrilled at the chance of making a pivot like that in my career, it felt right and it made sense. And I'm so grateful that I did, because we have been so blessed because we made that choice. And then working with Bob on a daily basis from inside the office, obviously I was privy to other operational aspects of the company that I wasn't before, and it just continued to reinforce the positivity, the attitude, the values, the integrity, and so that really solidified even more. And then once we went and dedicated ourselves full time out in the field, as investing and as ICMs working that side of the business, as we saw Bob at different events and things, it's like, well, yeah, this is what I've always known. It's exactly the same. And then, of course, being able to work as a PAC member, serve as a PAC member with him, with those a little bit more regular contact now that we're out in the field. Same thing. It's just consistent. It's constant. It's consistent, and it's been, like I said. I mean, it's actually been more than 5 years, because he was my client more than 5 years ago. So it's been at least 5 years or over 5 years that I've been working with Bob and known him. And you can tell if people are putting on a show and they're like saying one thing and then they're doing another, and there's kind of some it's not congruent what they're saying and what they're doing. And I've traveled around the world with Bob, filming with him and done different things. So I've seen him in all situations, all places, with lots of people, with just him and I, and it has been consistent. It has been constant, and it's something that once you really get to know Bob Snyder, you can feel it, right? Everybody has an energy about them, or an aura, or a soul, or a spirit. Everyone has a different word, but the energy or the aura that he has, you can't not like him.
Oh yeah.
Because he's so authentic. He's so real. And now he's made phenomenal accomplishments in his life, in business and in, investing and everything that he's done, touched countless thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people's lives all around the world. But when you truly get to know him and hang out with him to where you become friends with him, it's like, man, this is incredible. And a lot of people are so surprised because they didn't think that people of that caliber, with that level of success, I'm referring to, like financial success, can truly maintain that level of humility, of relatability, and of just being genuine.
Oh yeah.
Being genuine and being authentic. It's refreshing. It's absolutely refreshing.
I love how he takes time with every single person that approaches him to create an authentic connection. He never panders. He never tries to puff himself up to be something he isn't. And in fact, in my experience, those people that tell you they are one thing a lot, they tend to be the exact opposite of that. And Bob doesn't do anything of the sort. He says, yeah, I'm a normal guy. In fact, for the longest time, he used to make the same joke when people would say, hey, what do you do? He'd say, well, I'm the founder and owner of Renatus. And he'd say, but really, I'm the chief cook and bottle washer. And so it's one of those things where he is not above, not only is he not above anybody that works with him, he works side by side with each one of us, but he's not above anybody that he meets anywhere in life, because he understands that each one of us is an untapped potential that, with the right direction and with the right motivation, the right inspiration, can do phenomenal things. And that's how he treats every single person that he runs into. I love how you gave an outside perspective, transitioned to an inside perspective, and then transitioned into an adjacent perspective, where now you're adjacent with Bob. You're side by side with Bob, pushing the opportunity forward. And I love that, man. That was powerful. I really appreciate your insights.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing I remember. We would go on shoots on location, and Aaron knows all about this. You got big gear cases; those things are way heavy, and you're carrying all this equipment around. And Bob would just grab his job is not to be the grunt carrying the gear. That's my job, right? But he would grab. Hey, let me help you carry these things up the stairs, and let me help you here. And I remember seeing him, taking out garbage, emptying the garbage cans and things. I'm thinking, you're the CEO of a big company. What are you doing that? But that's his attitude is, hey, nothing is, I'm not above all of this. No, I am here to just be like everybody else. Yeah. And his true, genuine connection that anyone who meets him understands what's that like. It's incredible. Even if he's in a hurry, even if he only has 30 seconds or 60 seconds, you can truly feel that he cares and that it's genuine, and it's powerful.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have loved having you on the podcast today. I have loved hearing a little bit more about your story and gleaning more insights from your perspective. I want to thank you, Mr. Black, for being on the call with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jay.
Well, that wraps up yet another amazing episode of the Renatus J.A.M. It has been truly my pleasure to be with you. We will be with you again next week for the final Renatus J.A.M. of the year. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of Matt Snyder, even though he's not with us, we want to thank not only Mr. Aaron Peterson, who is our producer. I want to thank Mr. Ryan Black for being with us, and I want to thank each and every one of you. You guys rock. Renatus rocks.